And the 10th speech is building on all the skills that speakers have learnt during their journey in Toastmasters, all those previous speeches coming together in this 10th speech, when the speaker is required to inspire your audience. An inspirational speech motivates an audience to improve personally, emotionally, professionally or spiritually. What's it going to be, David? We're about to find out. David's personal objectives, his aim is to captivate the audience interest in a serious and dramatic subject without over-dramatising his subject. He would like to achieve a stillness at the centre of his presence on stage without losing the passion. The speech is 8 to 10 minutes long, so could we have the green light on 8 minutes, the amber light on 9 minutes and the red light on 10 minutes, please, Mr. Tyler.
Yes.
So with a speech entitled Never, please welcome David Phelops.
A child is told, you're good, but you're not good enough. A child is told, in your house, your guests come first. A child is told, in their house, your hosts come first. A child is told, you're English, but don't be too like the English. A child is told, you're Jewish, but don't be too like the Jews. A child is told, no pressure, just be yourself. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and our very welcome guests. As a teenager, I read a book that had such a profound, far-reaching and lasting effect on my life. It changed my perceptions and it affected my identity. The book was called Night and the author's name is Elie Wiesel. Now, Elie Wiesel came from a Romanian Jewish family. And the story of Night is the story of their transportation, the whole family's transportation to a concentration camp where Elie lived through the war and his family perished. In this book there is a passage of 7 lines. 7 lines of poetry amongst a sea of very poetic prose. And those are the words that had such a dramatic effect on my life. Just 7 lines. Now in Jewish law, 7 is a very significant number. The mystics revere it. God created the earth in 7 days, and so on and so forth. There are many different occurrences of 7, the days of the week and more. So in Judaism, 7 is very important. And Elie Wiesel wrote 7 lines of poetry. The words in the poem, the words that he used, were not extraordinary words. They were not highfalutin words. They were not complicated words. They were strong, emotive words. Before I share them with you, what I would like to do is just set out a little bit of context and share the background which is illuminated by these words. I was brought up in the 1970s in a reasonably affluent family, a Jewish family in northwest London. So what does it mean to be brought up in a Jewish family in northwest London in the 1970s? Well, like any upbringing, everybody will have their own view. And this is mine. Being Jewish is made up of lots of different things. Yes, Judaism is a religion, but Judaism is much more than a religion. In Judaism there's a culture, there is an attitude, there is a way of life, a way of being. And it's made up of lots of things. I was very lucky as a teenager and as a young man and a young boy to live in the society in which we live. In my young life, I really didn't know about tragedy. I had 2 parents, a sister, had 3 grandparents. My maternal grandmother had died many years before. So I had no experience of hardship and death. And this is what is written about in this book, Night. It is hardship, degradation, humiliation, leading in a lot of cases to death. And as I say, I knew not of tragedy as a young man. So having read the book, having seen films, having been to museums, having had artifacts presented to me, pictures of mountains of shoes, of hair, of gold from teeth, of glasses, belonging to thousands and thousands of people. Yes, it was tragic. Yes, it was made you cry. Yes, it hurt. But I could not have any idea what it must have been like. And nor, of course, would I want to, or would I want anybody to. But what these 7 words, these 7 lines of poetry did for me, more than anything else that I've seen or heard, they just brought, I hesitate to say to life, but they brought one step closer to me being able to feel in my heart what it must have been like. These words, they reached in, they wrapped themselves around my heart and squeezed. And they've stayed there ever since. Now I thought I'd been carrying these words. I thought I'd been wearing Judaism as a cloak, as a blanket. But I realised in the making, in putting these words together, I realised that they were not a blanket, they were a burden. And it may be obvious, but to me it was quite a profound moment of realisation. In order to rid oneself of a burden, one has to first recognise that one is carrying a burden. The ancient and revered Chinese philosopher and writer Lao Tzu is very famously reputed to have said, "Every journey, even of 1,000 miles, starts with a single step." For me, ladies and gentlemen, what I'm saying here tonight is a step. I don't actually know, I don't think it's the first step on a journey. It's a journey that I've been going on for many years, but it is a very significant step. It's a huge milestone, and it's something that I feel very privileged and proud to be able to share. The speech, the words I'm saying tonight, and the words that I will share with you at the end, they have been brewing, they've been sitting in me for 40 years. In 1986, Elie Wiesel was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize as a man of a spiritual leader whose teachings and words help recognise and give humanitarianism a chance where there is still oppression and racism rife in the world. So a man who lived through years of degradation and humiliation was enabled, and who for 10 years after the end of the Second World War, after his release, was unable to speak about his experiences, then went to write them down. And he was awarded many things. He has written many books, he has taught many people. And he received that Nobel Peace Prize in 1986. And the leap from the humiliation to that is so profound. And these are the words with which he captivated my heart. Never shall I forget that night, the first night in Cannes, that turned my life into one long night. 7 times cursed, 7 times sealed. Never shall I forget the smoke. Never shall I forget the little faces of the children whose bodies I saw transformed into wreaths of smoke under a silent sky. Never shall I forget the flames that consumed my faith forever. Never shall I forget the nocturnal silence that deprived me for all eternity of the desire to live. Never shall I forget the moments that murdered my God and my soul and turned my dreams to ashes. Never shall I forget those things, even were I condemned to live as long as God himself. Never.
Timekeeper, if I could ask you to put 1 minute on the clock, and again, I could ask you to fill in the form, give your feedback.
That is 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Timekeeper. We have 3 very, very welcome guests this evening. Mr. Romero, if you notice that on. We have Shalish Mystery, Robert Eisner and Sharon Dower. Sharon, if you'd like to, I'd like to give you the opportunity to stand up and say a little something about yourself while you're here.
Thank you. My name's Sharon. I came on the last session 2 weeks ago, and it was really the same role that brought me here today, is to be able to speak in public and address an audience.
Thank you very much, Sharon. No?
Who?
Okay.
What was the name?
Robert Eisner?
Rob, I think Robert's here.
No? No. And Shalish, I know you're here. I spoke to you earlier.
Hi, my name's Salish Mystery. I was here last night as a guest. I enjoyed it so much. And again, Sharon, I'd like to be able to be confident and speak in front of people. So that's why I'm here.
Shalish is too modest. He has just joined the club.
So, you all have on your chairs the white slips. If I could ask you kindly to cast your vote for the best speech of the evening so far. I would ask you to bear in mind the level the speech was given, and I've weighted accordingly. So a level 10 speech you would expect a much higher standard than you would for someone given that high speech.
And we have 2 minutes for the casting of the votes.
Thank you. Oh yes, thank you. Just in case you need reminding, thank you Peter. We had Trevor with his speech entitled Hammer the Ice, Tony with a speech entitled Is It All About the Money, and David with his very powerful speech, Never.
Who's that, David?
We will announce the winners at the end of the meeting. I'm now going to hand over you to the tender mercies of Karen. Karen is our table topics master of the evening. Karen is known for many things, including magic tricks, a great body-popping dancing style, and excellent catering skills. He's promised that he will apply none of these this evening's table topics, but I'm sure it's going to be an entertaining and possibly dramatic part of the evening. Ladies and gentlemen, Karen.
Before I start, is there anyone in this room who does not want to speak? Raise your hand.
Not right.
Choose your first.
More votes. That's it.
I was recently in a situation where, to my complete surprise, I was asked to speak to an audience. And I thought, wouldn't it be useful if we were somewhat prepared for common situations where you might be asked to speak? So that's the theme for today. Common situations where you might be asked to speak. Some of these situations may seem tougher than the others, but remember 2 things. A, we're all friends here. And B, our signature phrase of Toastmasters, every chance to speak is a chance to grow. So my first situation, this is a situation I will present to you, is a situation that I was in a few weeks ago. I was at a wedding. The groom's name was Jack. I really could not remember the bride's name. And honestly, it was not the alcohol, I promise. Please, could you please say a few words for the lovely couple? Jill!
It's been, ladies and gentlemen, bride and bridegroom, friends and relatives. Oh, and your lordship. I have known Jack for a very, very long time. We really, I mean, he's got so much to give in this marriage, and I have to concentrate what I'm saying on him. Because actually, his wife has got really, I mean, I call you wife, well, obviously it's such a lovely title, everybody, wife. So nice to have a husband. Really, he was a very, very good friend of mine, actually, when we were young. If anybody wants to know, I'll tell them later how good a friend we were. I'd like to wish them a very happy, very, very happy marriage.
Thank you. You are at an 18th birthday party for a man named Jack. Please, can you say a few words for the birthday boy? Mandy.
Jack, I'm so pleased to be invited to your birthday party. I feel really privileged to be at my age, to be at an 18-year-old birthday party. And I don't feel I've aged a day, but for you, you've got your whole life ahead of you. And it's often been said, and take it from somebody old like myself, that one doesn't regret what one does in life, but one regrets what one doesn't do. So live your life as if no one's watching and just have fun. Whatever you want to do, reach for the sky, reach for the stars, and have the best life. You've got so much ahead of you, so much to live for, so much to learn, so much to experience. I just wish I was 18 again. Sometimes I do feel it, and sometimes, to my daughter's disgust, I do act it. However, I'm not 18, and my wish for you is that you have as good a life as I had, and even better. Remember, live it. You've only got one life. It's not the dress rehearsal. Have fun. Do everything you want to do, and try everything you want to try. And don't worry about what other people think of you or say, because you only have yourself to account for. So with that, I will wish you a very happy birthday, and let's raise a glass to Jack.
You are at an 18th birthday party. Jack's 18th birthday party. And Mandy has just given her breathtaking speech. Guess what? You're next. Please, can you say a few words to the same audience for the birthday boy, Mike?
Auntie Mandy, Mum and Dad, my very dear family and friends, I'm extremely grateful to Auntie for these beautiful words of wisdom. I've just come from school where I had to listen to my headmaster telling me that I have to live my life from my deathbed backwards. What he meant was, look at your life, much more sober than your beautiful words, look at your life from the end of it, and then you will know what is really important. Well, I know that speech was really important, and I will treasure it right the way to the other end of my life. Tomorrow I go off on a journey. I shall be travelling for 3 months around the world, and I shall be going not on my own, but with my beautiful girlfriend, who my mother has told me I'm not to see again. And that is why I am going away. I shall see you all in 3 months with my beautiful child and my beautiful wife, who will be my wife by that time. Mandy, family, goodbye.
Before I start this one, the guests, can I have your names, please? 2 guests.
Sailesh.
Oh, Sailesh. Oh, the 1 guest. Not to worry. This one's not too bad. You're in an interview, a job interview, already interviewed, and you are asked, what is your greatest achievement? What is his greatest achievement? Suresh.
My greatest achievement, basically just turning off. I really can't think of anything in particular to say about that, but of recently, what I would have liked is to have the ability to speak to people, in front of people, and that would have been my greatest achievement, and that's probably the reason why I'm here. So and that's probably more or less as much as I could say, if that's okay.
Okay, last one. This situation is quite common, I think anyway. You have been working on a project with a team for a few months. You are here at the award ceremony to collect the award for your project. And you are the one collecting the award. Your team is somewhere amongst this audience. Please, can you say a few words for accepting this award? Warren!
There are 8 people on my team, and I want to thank all of them, but I actually did most of the work. So it's only fair that I come up and take the award. When people ask people in job application forms, which I used to do recently, what you have to do with a team, no one actually is a team member because everyone is an individual. So if you score the goal in a football team, even though someone passed it to you, possibly the opponent, you're the one who scored the goal. So I'd like to thank the team for supporting me. I'd like to thank the team for deciding that I should receive the prize, which, because it's very difficult to cut into small pieces, I'm going to take it home. And unlike the previous speaker, this is not my greatest achievement, but one of many.
Wonderful table topics. Sorry if I was so hard on you. Oh, yes, and I'm going to hand it back to
I'm slightly worried about Curran's obsession with the guy called Jack, because I'm obviously here as his probation worker, and I'm here to captivate and take him into custody. So if we'd like to now get out our voting slips again, and if you could vote for the best person table topic, Jill, who didn't bother to learn the wife's name after having had an innocuous and slightly dodgy past with a groom, Mandy, inspirational live your life, Mike's confusing age reassignment with less boxes of his age, and wishful thinking, for an 18-year-old. Salish with his greatest achievement, and Warren for the ungracious acceptance and the degradation of his team.
Oh no,
So, 1 minute please, if you just put those voting acceptance.
Pavlov's.
We're now going to take a short break for light refreshments and socialising.
Like socialising.
10 minutes. It gives you a chance. What I didn't do was give the British Airways exit speech. So if anyone finds the building on fire, try and go down to an exit marked fire exit and not throw your stuff out the building through an unmanned window. The fire exits are behind Peter, down the stairs, and the toilets are also at the bottom of the stairs for those guests. So if we could be back here by 10 past, I'd be very grateful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, yeah.
Quite easily. And I just said portraits.
Oh no, yeah.
Hot water's outside.
That's what I'm here for.
Because I'm orthodox to the prize. I don't ask them. They don't have
Well, there's so many. I was actually
So I don't really think that's on actually, I have. Otherwise, I wouldn't have started working. No,